So the moment we have all been waiting for has finally arrived. This is good news because if you have been struggling because of credit cards, because of auto loans, your mortgage, well, guess what? Things are about to get easier. So I'm going to break down what just happened today. Some big news, some big statements that we saw were made. Well, guess what? This is coming and this is going to be a benefit to you. So I'm going to break down what's going on at this time, what we are likely to see in the next month and a half, and what this means to your wallet. So make sure you stick around and watch this entire video, and I'll explain exactly what is going on. But all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So what just happened this morning that is going to change your life for the next year to 2 years? Well, it's this. The Federal Reserve clears a path for a September interest rate cut. This is big news, and here's the reason why. What we have been hearing over the past couple of years is that these rates will not stay high forever. They will eventually come down. They were going up over the past year. Now they will be coming down come September. At least this is according to the reports. There's still a chance that the Federal Reserve decides to keep rates the same or possibly increase them. However, it's the most likely outcome and scenario that they are going to cut rates. Here's the reason why this is good. Number one, if you have a credit card, you could see your interest rate go down. This would actually save you money every single month. The second reason why this is a good thing, if you are considering going to get a new car or get a mortgage, if interest rates drop, then it would become less expensive for you to go and get a mortgage or an auto loan. That's good news. Here's the third reason why this is huge. Businesses are struggling. They want to invest into developing a new product, into research, development. They want to grow. They can't do that if they cannot invest back into their business, if they can't borrow for less than what they are earning. Here's the reason why this is something that businesses have been waiting for. When you have cheap money, when you can go to the bank and interest rates are at 2%, 3%, that's great. It's easy to make 3% profit, but it's difficult to make 10, 12% profit. So when you have a loan that you are paying interest of 8 to 9%, it's tough. That's why this is going to be big for businesses. And as businesses can get more money, invest it back into their business, guess what? They can hire more people. As they're growing, they become more profitable. They can lower prices. Okay, inflation's going to go down. This is good news. We also have seen over the past handful of months that unemployment is kind of teetering around that certain mark, but eventually it's either going to go up or down. Guess what? Good news here, because we're not going to see a lot of people lose their jobs if interest rates go down. Yeah, if interest rates go down, we could also see additional inflation. But this is where the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell had a very interesting statement. Listen to this, okay? It's about 1.5 minutes long, but at the end of this, he makes a very bold statement, something that we really need to understand, because this is exactly what I've been saying for the past year. Just listen to this.
Significant movement in the labor market. And, we're very mindful of this question of is it just normalization or is it more? We think it's just more normalization, but we want to be in a position to support the labor market. At the same time, we're seeing progress on inflation. So, we actually got to this. We raised rates a year ago at the July meeting. And if you look at the situation in the economy a year ago, inflation was over 4%. It was a completely different economy. Now we've made a lot of progress, and the labor market has, I think, unemployment was in the threes, mid threes. So it's a different economy, and I think it's coming to be time to adjust that so that we support this continued process. The thing we're trying to do is, that we've had this really significant decline in inflation, and unemployment has remained low. And this is a really unusual and historically historically unusual and such a welcome outcome for the people we serve. What we're thinking about all the time is how do we keep this going? And this is part of that. We think we don't need to be 100% focused on inflation because of the progress we've made. 12-month headline at 2.5, core at 2.6. It's way down from where it was. The job is not done on inflation, but nonetheless, we can afford to begin to dial back the restriction in our policy rate.
That's the key right there. The job is not done on inflation, but we can afford to start dialing back restrictions on our policy rate. That's the key. Because he was very clear that yes, we've made substantial progress on inflation, but the job's not done. But they can't be 100% focused on inflation. If they were, there's absolutely no way they could lower the current rate. They can't cut rates if inflation is still too high. This is what I've been saying for a couple years now. I don't anticipate the Federal Reserve comes back and says, you know what, we are going to keep interest rates, or we're going to keep our growth at 2%. We want inflation at 2%. That's the goal. No, I think we're going to stick with a higher inflation rate, not 2%. My guess is we're going to stick to about 2.5 to maybe 3%. That's the goal. Okay? That's big though. Because again, 2.5 to 3%. Are we going to see wages keep up with inflation? Is Social Security going to keep up with inflation? We don't know. That's why it's such a big deal. Now, one thing I want to just add here is that there's a lot of different things going on in the economy, not just here in the United States, but abroad as well. One of the big ones that just went on recently is Israel attacked, or Israel retaliated to Hezbollah and Hamas, and by doing so, they put missiles into Lebanon and also into Iran. Well, Iran's Ayatollah, he is now ordering a direct attack on Israel. Here's the reason why this is an issue. We are seeing that the Federal Reserve plans to cut rates. That's good news. Okay, that's going to benefit the American people. Here's the problem. We are going to see a rate cut. The issue is prices could still remain high because the United States is likely going to be sending additional resources to Israel. Israel is our closest ally in the Middle East. We are not just going to leave them to hang out and dry. We are going to protect them, support them, assist them any way needed. That is going to be an issue for our wallets, because when we dive into a war, even a very minimal, regional war, the issue is we're still at war. We're still sending money, sending dollars, sending troops, overseas. That's an issue. It means it costs us more here in the United States. Okay, everything will be more expensive. Gas prices more expensive. Transportation more expensive. Food more expensive. Okay, keep that in mind. And again, I bring all this up because yes, the Federal Reserve cutting rates. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. This is something that's really going to benefit our economy, but at the same time, we could see this massive move, but in conjunction with a war in the Middle East. So again, we may not see prices change too much, but the rates will come down. They may only come down by 0.25%, but they are going to come down, right? Now, I want to read this one last thing to you right here. It says investors now expect an initial reduction of a 0.25 percentage point or 25 basis points to be followed by 2 more at remaining meetings this year in November and December. It says what speeds up the cycle is weakness in the labor market, and what slows down the cycle is stickiness on inflation. Again, inflation would become sticky if we see a war in the Middle East. Okay? Now, here's what you need to understand. The next CPI report, this is what tells us what our inflation rate is. The next one is on August 14th. Okay? I promise I will keep you up to date on what happens then. But between now and the next FOMC meeting, this is when the Federal Reserve will meet again and discuss a potential rate cut. This is going to happen on September 17th and 18th. So we are going to know soon, within the next, about month and a half, what our rate is going to look like. Okay? But just understand, in the next month and a half, we could see a lot of stuff happen. It could be good, it could be bad, or it may not change a thing. So, the one thing I can promise you is I will be here every step of the way, and I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.